Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reiterated long-standing demands that the entire south of Syria, south of Damascus, remain absolutely demilitarized, and vowed that Israel will continue to carry out attacks on Syria to enforce this red line. Tensions have escalated after Bedouin tribes clashed with Druze militias in the majority Druze southern Syrian town of Suwaida after a spate of kidnappings and robberies in the area. Syrian government forces were sent in to end the fighting, but this seems to have made things worse. Prior to entering Suwaida, the Syrian government had notified Israel and assured it that the operation was not directed at Israeli interests. Despite this, Israel bombed the Ministry of Defense and the Army General Command buildings, all located in the heart of Damascus. U.S. Special Envoy for Syria Tom Barrack held several calls with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's senior advisor to press for de-escalation. Ahmed al-Sharaa was forced to give a televised address in response to the ongoing Israeli bombardment. Al-Sharaa said the nation faced either open war with Israel at the expense of our Druze citizens, or allowing Druze clerics to return to reason and put the national interest first. A very surprising way to put things. Israeli officials justified their actions by citing a commitment to protect the Druze minority in Syria, linked to the Druze community within Israel. As far as Israel is concerned, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The Druze situation is a strategic opportunity to further destabilize Syria under the guise of humanitarian concern and expand Israel's reach into the region.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer signed a landmark bilateral agreement in London designed to deepen cooperation on defense, trade, and migration. Speaking at a joint news conference in London, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer described the agreement as the first of its kind and a statement of intent from two European nations facing shared global challenges. For the first time, the United Kingdom and Germany will enter into a mutual assistance arrangement, accompanied by plans for cooperation on arms development, border and migration policy, infrastructure, and scientific advancement. The two countries committed to launching joint arms export campaigns and collaborating on a new long-range missile system, in line with broader efforts to build a more integrated European defense industrial base. The treaty marks another important step in Europe's shift toward deeper security and defense integration beyond NATO's framework. As governments across the continent seek to reinforce intra-European deterrence and coordination in light of rising regional tensions and uncertainty surrounding long-term U.S. security commitments, the Pact signals London and Berlin's intent to take greater responsibility for Europe's security. It, however, remains to be seen if both nations will deliver on the deal, as both nations have been making grandiose proposals with little finance or industrial capacity to deliver. Both the UK and Germany are presenting an image of leadership as the US dumped the continent. It remains to be seen if Europe can stand on its own. It's been a tough week for Russia, with the U.S. threatening severe tariffs against Russia and the European Union imposing a raft of stiff sanctions. Trump's election pledge to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours has hit the wall of reality, as he has failed to make any progress on this front. Trump threatened that he will implement severe tariffs on Russia and those dealing with it unless a peace deal is reached between Moscow and Kiev within 50 days. In addition, Trump said European allies will buy billions and billions of dollars of U.S. military equipment to be transferred to Ukraine, thereby replenishing the besieged country's ability to continue fighting. This represents a complete U-turn on the U-turn by Trump on Ukraine. Originally, he argued against Biden's position, saying it had caused and then worsened the war, which was of no apparent strategic interest to the U.S. He made promises to his base that he would force a quick diplomatic solution. But now, 6 months later, Trump has effectively adopted Biden's position. Russia has been under near complete sanctions since the start of the Ukraine war, with sanctions failing to deliver the promised breakthrough. These newly threatened secondary sanctions are designed to dissuade China and India from doing business with Russia, who have continued to do so despite the threats. It's unlikely they will change now. As for the billions and billions of weapons, Ukraine has already received billions and billions of weapons, and it has failed to deliver on every hoped-for breakthrough. The war in Ukraine is now fundamentally a war of attrition, and the outcome will not be decided by the deployment and use of sophisticated machinery, but by access to vast quantities of ammunition, particularly bullets, artillery shells, missiles, and drones. The much-hyped deployment of advanced aircraft, Western armor, and advanced rocket artillery systems failed to appreciably turn the tide in Ukraine's favor, and it's unlikely it will do so now.